I didn't expect to see anything alive out there. Not that deep into the woods. Not that quiet. But then I saw the blood. It was smeared along the roots of an old birch tree, like someone had dragged a sack of red paint through the dirt. I froze. My hands were shaking before I even knew why. And then I saw her. She was lying on her side, ribs rising too fast, for matted and dark. A lynx, not a cat, not a dog, not anything that should be breathing after losing that much blood. Her back leg was bent at a sick angle, and something had torn through her belly. But she was alive. Barely. I took a step closer, stupidly thinking maybe she was already gone. Her eyes snapped open. I stumbled back. Her ears twitched. She didn't growl, didn't flinch, just looked at me. Her pupils were blown wide, black against gold and yellow, like she was watching a fire she couldn't run from. Her mouth opened a little. No sound came out. I should have left. I should have turned around and walked back to the truck. It was already getting dark. I didn't have cell service. And who the hell was I to save a wild animal? But I didn't move. Instead, I crouched down. I said very softly, "Hey there." She blinked. Slowly. I slid off my flannel jacket and laid it beside her, trying to remember what I'd read years ago about moving injured animals. My fingers hovered above her fur. "I'm not going to hurt you," I said. No reaction. Just those eyes. I touched her side. She flinched so violently that I almost dropped to the ground, expecting claws. But she didn't strike. Her body just tensed like she expected pain. I wrapped the jacket around her, as gently as I could, mumbling apologies the whole time. She was lighter than I thought. Bones and muscle. No fat. No defense. The truck was over a mile away. I carried her the whole way. The sun dropped fast. The woods got colder. She didn't make a sound. Back at the cabin, I had no idea what I was doing. I laid her out on the floor of the laundry room, turned on every light I could, and scrubbed my hands like a surgeon. I Googled photos of Lynx anatomy, trying to find where it cut, where to avoid. There was a deep gash along her belly, maybe from barbed wire. Infection already setting in. I had some old vet supplies from when I tried to raise goats. Alcohol, thread, a curved needle. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. She watched me the whole time. When I pushed the needle through her skin, she didn't even cry out. Her eyes just locked on mine, as if she was waiting to see if I'd keep going. I did, stitch after stitch. I whispered her strength back into her. I told her she was safe. I don't even know why. Maybe I needed to hear it too. It took over an hour. When I was done, I covered her with a blanket and sat beside her until the sky turned black. I didn't sleep that night. I kept thinking she'd die, that I'd wake up and find her cold. But when I came back in the morning, she was still there. She was awake, and she hadn't left. She stayed. That morning, and the next one after that. Every day, when I opened the laundry room door, she was there, awake, quiet, watching me. I started calling her Luna. I don't know why. Maybe it was the way her eyes reflected the light, like cold moons in the shadows. It felt right. At first, I thought she was too weak to leave. I laid out raw chicken breast and bowls of water. She ate slowly. I cleaned her wound twice a day, checked the stitches, whispered things I didn't even realize I was saying. She didn't resist me. Didn't purr, either. Just watched. By day 4, she limped on her own. By day 7, she made it to the front door. I opened it, expecting her to bolt. She stepped outside, sniffed the air, then sat on the porch and stared at the trees. From that day on, every morning, she was waiting at the door when I opened it, sometimes sitting, sometimes already standing, tail flicking like she was about to make a decision and hadn't yet. But she never ran, never wandered too far, always came back before sunset. It became a routine I didn't mean to fall into. Wake up, open the door, say, "Morning, Luna." She blinked slowly like it meant something. Feed her, clean up, try to work. Repeat. One afternoon, maybe 2 weeks in, I heard gravel crunch outside. I looked out the window. My neighbor, Andy, was trudging up the hill with a six-pack and his usual smirk. He was wearing that same filthy fishing cap he always wore. I stepped out, met him halfway down the path. He raised an eyebrow. "You got a damn bobcat on your porch." I laughed. "Lynx, not a bobcat. She's recovering." "From what? A bear fight? Jesus. I thought you were raising chickens, not predators." Luna stood and walked toward him. Not fast, not aggressive, just curious. Andy stepped back. "She gonna rip my throat out?" "No," I said. "She's calm. Mostly." He handed me the six-pack. "You've officially lost your mind." We drank a couple beers on the porch. Luna sat at my feet, eyes drifting between us, ears turning toward every sound from the woods. Andy talked about fishing, his wife's new garden project. Something about a raccoon chewing through their gutter. I wasn't really listening. I kept watching Luna. She wasn't just relaxing. She was watching something. That night, I woke up to a noise. A thump, then a scrape. It was after midnight. Cold. The kind of silence where every sound feels louder. I grabbed a flashlight and stepped into the hallway. Luna was already standing near the front door, tail stiff, ears forward. I whispered her name. She didn't look back. She growled. It was low, quiet, almost like she was trying not to wake me. Then, without hesitation, she lunged forward and slammed her body against the door. Not enough to open it, just enough to rattle the hinges. My heart jumped. I flicked the light on. She was pressed up against the door, growling louder now. I peeked through the side window. Nothing, just trees. I waited. 5 minutes. 10. The growling stopped. When I opened the door, Luna darted outside and vanished into the dark. I didn't sleep. I sat on the porch until the sky started turning pale. She came back at dawn. Her paws were muddy, her fur wet, but she wasn't bleeding. That morning, I walked around the house, trying to make sense of it. I figured it was a deer or a coyote. Maybe she heard something I couldn't. But then I saw them. Footprints. Human. 12 feet from a back window. Barely visible in the damp ground. Big boots. Deep treads. Not mine. No path nearby. No reason for anyone to be there. I looked at Luna. She just sat in the grass, licking her paw. Calm, like nothing had happened. She always knew first. I started to count on it. The way Luna would pause mid-step, ears perked, head tilting towards something I couldn't hear yet. Sometimes it was nothing more than a truck in the distance. Other times it was thunder, still hours away. And once, it was a crack in the floorboards I hadn't noticed until she stood over it, sniffing, growling. She never barked or howled or made noise for the sake of it. But when she reacted, I listened. It wasn't just instincts. It was like she was tuned to something deeper, something I couldn't see. Then the call started. It was a Tuesday night when the landline rang. I still had one. Habit, I guess. Self-service out there came and went with the wind. I picked up. Nothing. Not even static. Hello. Silence. Then the line clicked. I waited a full minute before setting the receiver back down. 2 nights later, it rang again. Same thing. No voice. No sound. Just a hang-up. This time, when I turned around, Luna was already standing at the door, tail low, eyes narrowed. That same night, she refused to sleep inside. She sat by the back door, staring into the tree line. I brought her food out there. She didn't touch it. By morning, she was covered in dew. Things got worse from there. The next evening, I was splitting firewood behind the shed when Luna bolted into the trees. No warning. No sound. Just gone. I dropped the axe and followed. The woods were still. Too still. I called her name. No response. 10 minutes passed before I heard the growl. Not hers. A man's. Pain. Panicked. Then I saw movement through the brush. A man stumbled back, clutching his arm. He was tall, maybe late 30s, unshaven, wearing a heavy brown jacket. He looked right at me, eyes wide, bleeding. "Call off your damn animal," he shouted. Luna stood in front of him, fur raised, fangs bared, blood on her front leg. She didn't move. I stepped forward, hands up, "What were you doing on my property?" He backed away. "I was just walking." "Through a half-mile of fenced private land?" He didn't answer, just ran. Luna didn't chase. She waited until he was gone, then circled back to me. Her breathing was fast. Her tail lashed once. I could still see red on her paw. We went straight to the sheriff's office. Deputy Jansen took my statement. He nodded a lot, wrote things down, asked if I had security cameras. I didn't. "Probably just a hiker who got too close," he said. "At night? Through posted land?" "Twice." He looked tired. "No way to prove intent." "We'll log it." They sent a patrol car around the next day. Nothing turned up. No one found. No reports. I changed the locks. Bought motion lights. Started sleeping with a baseball bat next to the bed. Luna never left the porch. And then, out of nowhere, Kelly called. I hadn't spoken to her in over a year. She used to live here. Before all the silence. Before I pulled away. She said she was passing through. Asked if she could stop by. Just to talk. I said yes. She showed up with coffee and that same smile I used to see every morning. Her hair was longer. Her voice softer. She looked at the house like it remembered her. We sat on the porch, talked about nothing important. The job she quit. The dog she wanted. She didn't ask about the Lynx. Luna watched from the edge of the woods. Still, tense. When the sun dropped, Kelly asked if she could stay the night. She looked at me like she already knew the answer. I nodded. As we headed inside, Luna growled. Not low, not cautious. Deep, aggressive. She stood in the doorway, blocking the entrance. Kelly froze. Is she okay? I moved between them. Luna, it's fine. She's okay. The growl didn't stop. Her eyes were locked on Kelly. No blink. No breath. Kelly stepped back. Maybe I should go. No. She just needs to get used to you. Give her a minute. But I was lying. Luna wasn't confused. She wasn't nervous. She was warning me. That night, I couldn't sleep. Luna was pacing. Kelly was asleep in the spare room, unaware of the tension bleeding through the walls. I sat in the living room, one hand on the bat, the other holding a lukewarm cup of coffee. Luna wouldn't settle. She moved from window to window, eyes locked on the shadows outside. I kept the lights off. At 2:17 in the morning, the kitchen window shattered. Glass exploded inward. Luna lunged before I even stood up. I heard a crash, a grunt, and then a scream. Not mine, not Kelly's. Outside, a man. I ran to the kitchen, heart slamming into my ribs. The window was blown out. Pieces of frame hung from the sill. Blood on the floor. Luna was gone. I shouted for her. Nothing. Kelly burst in, eyes wide, phone in hand. What was that? Someone tried to break in. Luna is after them. We need to go. Her voice cracked. I grabbed my keys. We bolted out the front door into the truck. She climbed in barefoot. Shaking, I floored it toward Andy's place. He lived half a mile down the dirt road, past the hill. I pulled into his driveway, pounding the horn. No lights. I jumped out, ran to his front door, knocked hard. No answer. Back in the truck. Kelly kept glancing behind us. Where is she? She'll find us. I hoped I wasn't lying. After 5 minutes, Andy finally opened the door in sweatpants, blinking. What the hell, man? I pushed past him. Someone broke into my house. Luna chased them. Kelly's freaked out. Can we stay here a bit? He nodded, still waking up. Jesus. Yeah, of course. Inside, we locked the doors. Sat in silence. 15 minutes later, Luna scratched at the front door. I opened it. She stepped in, limping slightly, fur ruffled. No blood this time. She went straight to Kelly, sniffed her legs, then curled up at her feet. Andy looked between us. What the hell is going on out there? I told him everything. The calls, the footprints, the guy in the woods, the photo I hadn't told Kelly about yet. He listened, didn't interrupt. At dawn, I went back with Andy. The kitchen was a wreck. The blood trail stopped 20 feet from a window. Nothing else. We didn't call the cops until noon. They came. They took photos, measured the window, asked if I saw a face. I didn't. Luna sat by the broken glass the whole time, watching the trees. Next morning, Andy didn't answer his phone. I walked over around 11. His front door was cracked open. I knocked. Nothing. Stepped in. No one. The place looked normal. Shoes by the door. Keys on the table. Bed unmade. But no Andy. Luna followed me room to room. She was alert, focused. In the backyard, her body stiffened. I saw his phone in the grass. No sign of him since. The sheriff came. Again. Took another report. No sign of forced entry. No sign of a struggle. Just an open door and a missing man. Kelly wanted to leave. Said she had to get back to the city. That night she packed a bag. I didn't stop her. She cried a little. Told me I should come with her. I told her I couldn't. Not yet. After she left, it got worse. I started jumping at noises, double-checking every lock. I blocked the windows with sheets. Kept the lights on all night. Luna changed too. She wouldn't come inside anymore. Slept on the porch, watching. She barely blinked. Didn't let me pet her. She wasn't a pet anymore. One morning, I went to get firewood and found something stuck to the cabin wall. A photo, taped, of me, standing in the yard, facing away, taken from the trees. My hands started shaking. Luna walked up behind me. She stared at the trees like she already knew who took it. The night it happened, the wind wouldn't stop. It howled through the trees, slammed against the roof, whispered along the walls like something alive. I sat in the hallway, back to the wall, shotgun across my lap. Luna was outside again. She hadn't come in for 3 days. I kept the door unlocked. The clock read 2:49 when I heard it. A single knock. Not the wind. Not a branch. A knock. Soft. Precise. Then another. I didn't move. My breathing went shallow. I wanted to call out, but the sound got caught in my throat. The doorknob turned. It didn't open. Just rattled. Whoever was out there wanted me to know they were there. Luna growled. I didn't see her come in. But suddenly she was at the door, body low, muscles tensed. The doorknob rattled again. Then the window shattered. Everything happened at once. Luna lunged toward the back of the house. I heard boots on wood. A man's voice shouting something I couldn't understand. Then a gunshot. I dropped flat. My ears rang. Luna screamed. Not like a lynx. Like a person. A howl of pain and rage. I scrambled toward the back door, heart pounding so loud I thought it would explode. Another gunshot. Then silence. I opened the door and ran into the yard. The wind hit me like a wave. Trees swayed. Leaves flew. I saw nothing. No one. Luna. No answer. I ran toward the woods barefoot, screaming her name. Nothing but wind and dark. She was gone. In the morning, the cops came again. They found footprints, shell casings, blood, but no body, no suspects, no witnesses. They didn't even pretend to help anymore. The next week passed in a blur. I stopped sleeping, ate crackers and old soup, sat on the porch for hours, staring at the trees. I called Kelly, told her not to come back, told her not to ask why. On the 8th night, I went deeper into the woods. Something pulled me there. Not logic, just wait. I walked for hours, past the stream, past the old watchtower ruins, deeper than I'd ever gone. And I found her. She was lying under a fallen log, hidden in shadows, breathing shallow, covered in mud and dry blood. Luna. She lifted her head. Barely. I dropped to my knees and touched her face. Her eyes fluttered. She was shaking. I wrapped her in my jacket, whispering her name again and again. I carried her back. She didn't make a sound. In the living room, I laid her on a blanket, gave her water. She drank a little. Her breathing slowed. She looked up at me, and for the first time, I swear, she blinked like she understood everything, like she was saying goodbye, and then she stopped breathing. I sat there with her for a long time. I don't know how long. The sky turned gray. Then light. I buried her at the edge of the trees, just far enough to see the porch. A day later, I was cleaning the broken glass when I found it, behind the couch, stuffed in the floor vent. A camera, battered, dirty, but intact. I pulled it out, checked the film inside. There was one roll. I had it developed in town. Every photo was black, completely blank. I brought the camera back, left it by her grave. That night, I sat on the porch with her collar in my hand. The wind had stopped, but the woods were still, watching,